Do you think that maybe Donald Trump and his regime like fucked up real big by invading Venezuela? And I don't mean like in terms of ticking off the international community or those of us that were already opposed to his fascist regime. I mean like with his base. Because we know that the far right in this country has not like one united political party, right? There's at least 5 factions within the political right in the US. And Donald Trump ran on an America First agenda. He ran on an isolationist, white Christian nationalist agenda. You may have seen Thomas Massie of Kentucky join with Democrats for a number of bipartisan bills lately, like the Epstein release bill, whatever it's called, I can't remember off the top of my head, with Ro Khanna. And then also he has a bill that he co-sponsored with progressive Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal back in December to try to get the 2001 AUMF repealed. And you may think, like, wow, kind of strange bedfellows there, or the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Thomas Massie, much like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like they don't want any of our taxpayer dollars to be used overseas, not for aid for other countries, not for us to provide military assistance to other countries, not for regime change, not for warmongering either. They are actually America first. They are actually like America for Americans. American dollars need to be spent on Americans, although so many of these kind of isolationist Americans still support a lot of our tax dollars going to corporations, many of whom are like international corporations. But Massie was extremely outspoken against Trump's attack on Venezuela. He said, "Wake up, MAGA. Venezuela is not about drugs. It's about oil and regime change. This is not what we voted for." And there was a good piece out this morning, I think, in the New Republic. I don't know, I read it really early. I've read a lot of news today. I'm just a little brain fried. That was talking about how a number of oil companies are actually not super into what Donald Trump is doing. You may feel like, oh, this is all about oil. This is about oil. But as Jamel Bowie and others have reported over the last 24 hours, this strike against Venezuela was really just like a whim that Trump had. This was all about him trying to seem big and powerful, and because he was pissed off at Maduro and like, yeah, there's no other kind of like comprehensive plan there than Donald Trump needed to feel big and powerful. And so they were like, okay, let's pacify Daddy Donald. Again, so many of the like unbelievably expensive, god-awful things that the puppet masters have let Donald Trump do are basically equivalent to your granny in the dementia ward being given a basket of washcloths to fold or a baby doll to keep her busy, right? Knocking down the East Wing, building this disgusting ballroom, attacking Venezuela. And Trump is like, oh, it's about oil, it's about oil. But there was reporting earlier today that was like the oil companies are like not super on board with. They're uncomfortable with this. Sure, they'll make a bunch of money off of it right now, but even corporations are seeing that this is low-key nuts. This is insane. This is not a good move on multiple levels. But for me, like, okay, whatever. Corporations, not ethical. They're going to be exploitive no matter what. For me, it's really interesting to see these folks on the political right who think that they're principled and their principles really revolve around America first. They're flaming fucking pissed over this because they voted for the peace president. Donald Trump said he ended 8 wars. He said he was bringing peace. He wasn't going to waste our taxpayer money abroad. He wasn't going to be a warmonger. He was not about regime change. And lest we forget, Trump has been promoting this kind of America First anti-regime change rhetoric for a long time.
The world would be better off with Saddam Hussein
100%.
and Gaddafi in power.
100%. Now, as far as Assad is concerned,
what about the human rights abuses?
Let's talk. Well, you don't think they're happening now? They're worse now than they ever were. People are getting their heads chopped off. They're being drowned. Right now, they're
really
far worse than they were ever under Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. And it all blew up around Hillary Clinton and around Barack Obama. It all blew up. Now, one thing about Assad, not a good guy. I understand that. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's falling to pieces. We have 19 trillion in debt. We have infrastructure that's a disaster. Our roadways, our airports, our schools, everything. We have to start thinking about ourselves. We're pouring trillions of dollars into the Middle East, and we have nothing for it. Nothing.
That CNN interview with Jake Tapper was from 2015, I think, and it is clear as fucking day how much Donald Trump has declined, how he's obviously got the dwindles. But he had this, like, we need to spend American money making our schools better and our roads better. And instead, he's dismantled the Department of Education. He's yanking back funding from everything from disaster preparedness, FEMA, funding for infrastructure. He's cut off funding for maintaining and improving the electrical grid on our roads to send that money directly into the pockets of corporations and billionaires, and to spend millions and billions of dollars waging war against immigrants inside the United States, against American citizens in the United States, and also warmongering in other countries. Hell, the far right America First folks do not want millions and millions or billions of our dollars being spent on regime change in other countries when the United States is less functional than it has ever been. So I've been thinking about this a little bit, and then I saw this clip a little bit ago from Megyn Kelly. Remember, Megyn Kelly was the one who was like, oh, it's maybe fine if Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were diddling 15-year-olds. She made a whole bunch of creepy comments in defense of PDF files. And then after publicly selling her soul in that way to back up Donald Trump, she's now saying this.
And I will not be joining the Fox News cheerleading brigade this time. I've been burned too many times. When I was at Fox News, which was a long time, 14 years, I would have known exactly what to do in the wake of Trump's attack in Venezuela. I would have known that I was supposed to cheerlead it. And I turned on Fox News yesterday, and I'm sorry, but it was like watching Russian propaganda. I have done that enough times in my career as a Fox News anchor to have been embarrassed enough to know I'm going to stay on the yellow light. And what does it mean in terms of boots on the ground? Trump is saying, I'm actually fine with that in Venezuela. Well, whose boots? Because I have a 16-year-old boy. And I have a 12-year-old boy, and I have a 14-year-old girl. And a lot of my listeners have children, too, who are actually the ones who might have to fill the boots. So I think I speak for a lot of moms, and dads for that matter, when I say I'm staying in yellow territory until we know more. And I will not be joining the Fox News cheerleading brigade this time.
Now, that was from Representative Jimmy Gomez's social media, but I went and looked to see who else is resharing this clip from Megyn Kelly and some of these talking points. And it's like Moms for America, America Proud, America First, Proud Conservative Mom. Like those kinds of accounts and groups on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok are resharing this, like seeming to agree with what Megyn Kelly is saying. And I find that fascinating. Has he now pissed off a big chunk of his base with this attack on Venezuela? Is this a bridge too far for people? Like for people for whom the Epstein files were not a bridge too far, right? Because for Thomas Massie, like the Epstein files were obviously a bridge too far, right? Yeah. But for folks like Megyn Kelly, they weren't. And I think about how everybody has their line where it's too far, where they can't invest anymore. Everybody has that moment where they're like, no thanks, I'm dipping. Is this Venezuela attack? Is that what's happening here? And I wonder whether Donald Trump is going to pull down an awful lot of Republicans who are not right now standing up against what he's doing. And I don't just mean like the Lady Lindsays who are chameleons who are willing to say anything to hold on to power. I mean like run-of-the-mill Republican elected officials who are up for election in 2026 who are not speaking out and are not working to constrain war powers and are not working to stop Donald Trump attacking Venezuela or Mexico or Greenland. Like, is that going to be a bridge too far for these Republican voters? Is that going to be the thing? Has Trump done fucked himself and like thoroughly fucked Republicans who are running in 2026? What do you think?